Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be why she is uncomfortable and won't make dates with you. Got an email here from a viewer. He says, "Hey Corey, I'm having trouble understanding why the girl I am talking to is either flaky/reserved or just not that interested. I was a little needy at first and asked her out too much." Well, I'd say that's a big part of your problem right there. See, the thing that you got to understand with women is that when a woman meets a guy, internally she looks at a guy, and on a scale of 1 to 10, in order for you to have a chance, in other words, you have to be at least a 5 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. And that's like, in other words, she would look at you and think, "Oh, he's kind of cute. I guess I'd go out with him," like if one of her girlfriends were asking her that. And occasionally you're going to meet a woman who's just, whatever reason, you're going to push her buttons and you're going to do it for her. And she might think you're a 7, 8, or maybe even a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, when you're starting out with a woman who looks at you and thinks you're just a 5, you like barely got a chance. In other words, there's very few things you can do wrong before she starts acting flaky and disinterested and not really trying that hard. But if she perceives you as like an 8 or a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10 to start with, there's a lot more things you can do wrong where you'll do something wrong or you'll act weak, and she'll see it, she'll notice it, but she'll just kind of brush it off and not really think too much about it because she really likes you. But if you continually do more things wrong than right over the course of several days or several weeks, you're going to turn her off to the point where she's not going to want anything to do with you. And so it's something that's important to understand, because once you start interacting with a girl and you start doing things wrong from the start and you start acting weak and you start acting needy, just like you've talked about here, you might think, "Oh, it's no big deal. I'm reading Corey Wayne's stuff now and I've read his book." But she doesn't forget those things because of how you've made her feel. Women don't necessarily remember everything you say, but they're always going to remember how you make them feel. And when you're around them and you act needy and you act weak and you chase too much and you ask her out too much and you get turned down constantly, they communicate. A guy who perceives himself as a catch, he's going to ask a girl out 2 different times over the course of a couple different weeks. And if she won't say yes or she won't make definite plans, then he just walks away and moves on to the next girl. But when you continue to chase and chase and chase, you're communicating that you really perceive that you don't have much better options elsewhere, and that you probably pretty much got nothing else going on in your social life. And if you got nothing else going on in your social life, then it must be because you're not a very good catch. Or in other words, other women don't perceive you to be a great catch. So he says, "I have since found your great material and have let her chase me. Recently, I tried to set a dinner date with her while I was out of town for work. She was very hesitant and seemed like she didn't want to make plans that far in advance. I asked why, and she said that she didn't want to go out to dinner because she dated crappy guys in the past and wanted to take things slow." That doesn't make any sense. She said no guy has ever treated her like I do before. The one time she let me take her out for a date, I was a gentleman and opened the door, etc. And then you say here, the one time she let me take her out. You're basically putting this girl on a pedestal, and you're giving her, because it's obvious that you like her, because how do I know that you really like her? Well, you took enough time to write an email, and you've obviously been trying to get this girl to go out with you for some time, but it's not working. He says, she seemed uncomfortable the whole time when we went to dinner, even when I did all the right things and had a fun date. It's like, yeah, you got to remember, you fucked up a lot in the beginning, and it's really super hard to overcome those things. It's a lot easier just to meet somebody completely new, and now that you've found my work, you can start doing everything right from the get-go, because this chick, it's like an uphill battle with women when you've screwed up. And one of the girls that I talk about that I ended up having a great long-term relationship with, it was like that in the beginning, but we had mutual connection. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say she perceived me to be an 8 or a 9 just because of how she acted and how she showed up. And so even though I was screwing things up and I was making mistakes, I started out at a really high level of interest in her eyes. And so even though I lowered it to the point where she didn't really want to hang out that much anymore, but by walking away and not talking to her for several weeks, it started to come back because I hadn't fucked up so bad to the point where she was just like, oh, I don't want anything to do with that guy, and she wouldn't take my calls anymore. It wasn't like that at all. It's just that I was getting flaky behavior, kind of like what you're getting here. And then I just stopped all pursuing altogether, and then eventually she came back, and I'll get to that in a minute. He says she just likes coming to my place, but when she does come over, it's almost like pulling teeth to get her to. After she still wouldn't make plans again, I stopped texting her. She sent me a text saying, I know I like you because I looked at my phone an abnormal amount at work to see if you texted me. And he says, which I hadn't texted her at all. Well, yeah, obviously there's some level of interest there. And so what we have to do is, because remember, women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And so this girl obviously knew that you really liked her. You were too easy, too available, and you were chasing her constantly. And she knew that she could blow you off and tell you no, she was busy when you asked her out because you're just going to call back tomorrow or a couple days from now, and it's no big deal. But what happens is because you've known this girl for a period of time, and 97% of the other guys out there that she's encountering don't understand this stuff either, and you've modified your behavior, then she starts to wonder about you. She's like, I haven't heard from him. He seemed to be all into me, and now he's not calling me anymore. Wonder why that is. And they start to wonder, and that's what causes them to start to reach out to see what you're up to. Maybe you hooked up with another girl. I mean, that's what women wonder about. And that's why they reach out to you, is to gain some certainty of where they stand with you. Because even though they might not really want to go out with you, they also kind of want to know that they've still got a chance in case maybe things don't work out with somebody else or they don't find somebody better. At the very least, they know that you're still interested. So he says, later that night, she said she wanted a boyfriend. And I know I need to look at actions instead of what she says, but why is she telling me this stuff when it's so hard to get her to hang out? Well, the one thing that she did say, she wanted to take things slow, and it's obvious that you tried to rush her. So she's got a real fear regarding you that you're going to try to rush her into a relationship. That's why she's hesitant to spend time with you, because she's obviously still getting the vibe that you're unsure of yourself. And I can just tell by the questions that you share with me that you're asking her, you're communicating to her that you don't know where you stand with her. Guys who are successful with women know where they stand all the time because they know how to read the signs. He says, after she texted me all that stuff, I asked her to come hang out after she got off work. It was a little later that night, but she stays up late, so I figured it was okay to ask. She was with a girlfriend and said, what, just leave her? And when a woman says something like that to me, I'd say, absolutely, I'm a lot more fun than anything that you and your girlfriend could get into. And you send a little smiley face with a wink back to her. And you're being playful. You're not telling you, like, well, of course, blow that girl off. You're just saying it in a playful, fun way. Love is playful and fun, and it's not serious. And it sounds like you're acting too serious just from the tone of this letter here. He says, needless to say, she didn't come hang out. If she liked me so much, I figured she would have asked to see me after work. She then said I should get some friends to come hang out with them because both of them usually go out to eat dinner after work on Fridays. And it sounds like she's testing you to move you into friend zone to see if you go along with it. He says, I don't really want a group date. Good job. You don't want a group date because you'll never. Because the object of seduction is to get closer and closer to a girl to the point where you're alone with her, and eventually you end up inside of her, and having other people around you hinders that process from happening because you're trying to talk to them, she's trying to talk to them, and you can't really focus on each other. He says, can you help me understand her words and actions? I'd say the simple thing is that you've screwed up a lot, and you're still obviously screwing up just by the tone of your letter and the things that you're asking me. And so this is what I want you to do. I don't want you to call or text this girl at all. Period. And so when she does text you the next time, try to ask her to do something, ask her to get together at dinner, just say, hey, why don't you grab a bottle of wine and come over to my place and we'll make dinner together. Just something simple like that, because she's obviously has come over to your place. And if she does anything other than make definite plans, then just say, well, if you don't know what your schedule is going to be, well, let's just do it, and this is important to say it this way, let's just do it some other time. And then pause and wait for her to respond. And if she really wants to see you, but she's got something going on, she'll say, oh, well, I really want to see you, but I'm just not sure. And then you just ask her again. Just say, well, I'm happy to make definite plans with you, but if you're not sure, then why don't we just do it some other time? And you do the takeaway again. And if she really wants to see you, she'll go, okay, well, all right, I'll be there at 8 o'clock then, and I'll bring a bottle of wine, or I'll bring this, or I'll bring chicken breast, or I'll bring steak, or whatever it is you're going to end up cooking, fish or something like that. However she's going to participate in the meal at your house. And so in other words, she agrees to come over, make definite plans, but if she tries to get you to call to verify or to leave things up in the air and tie things down later in the week, withdraw the offer. Just say, well, it just sounds like your schedule's a little too up in the air, so let's just do it some other time. And if she really doesn't care, she'll just go, okay, when you say some other time. And then you just go, hey, well, it's nice hearing from you. I got to run, keep in touch. And hang the phone up and get off the phone. And then ask her one more time. The next time she calls or texts you a few days later, try to get her to make a definite date. And if she won't do it, withdraw the offer and just same thing. Hey, it was great chatting with you. I got to run. Keep in touch. And just leave it at that. And then, from that point forward, if she still continues to call and text you, talk to her for a couple of minutes and just say, and don't bring up getting together at all. And after you talk for 2 or 3 minutes, you send 2 or 3 texts back and forth, just say, hey, it was nice hearing from you. I got to run. Keep in touch. Keep giving her the same thing. And one of two things will happen. She'll either stop calling, or when she does call, she'll say, well, hey, I was wondering if we could go ahead and schedule that dinner at your place to get together and make dinner together. I haven't seen you in a while. And she'll say shit like that. And when she does that, when she brings up getting together, then you make definite plans. Again, if she won't make definite plans, you withdraw the offer. And that's what you need to do with this girl. But in the meantime, take what I teach and apply it with other women so you can start getting more experience. But if this girl's reaching out and texting you and you do what I said, more than likely in a few weeks, she'll bring up, unless she doesn't make plans with you, in a couple of weeks when you do what I told you to do, she'll bring up getting together and doing something, then make definite plans, and then you'll have her. So if you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which will be on the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max. Just give me several days to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which will be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want a digital version of my Kindle ebook, on my website, on the right-hand column underneath the email sign-up box, is a box that has a link that will take you right to the download page. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device already, underneath the emails on the right-hand side of the download page, there's a button you can click to download a free e-reader app for your smartphone, tablet device, or your computer. It only takes a matter of seconds to download and install it and complete the purchase of my book. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer in these video newsletters and the articles on my website and my ebook, you can show your appreciation by going to my website, click the PayPal donate button, and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. And I will talk to you soon.